Hello guys, in today's video we are going to be using a picture of a car for a background in Adobe Photoshop. This is Twisted Creative. Alaribe Emmanuel is my name. If it's your first time on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not just hitting that subscribe button, also ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. Without wasting much time, let's get into it. Here is the image we are going to be using, but before we start, we go to our image adjustment, brightness and contrast. You just have to put a little contrast to remove haze from this image. You can, like, this is okay. I believe it's okay. I think it's okay this way. Then I think the brightness is okay. The level of the brightness is okay. Let's leave it this way at -2 and 42 contrast. Then hit OK. Then we have to go to our object selection tool and select subject. The selection is made. We have to pick up our lasso tool and go in there and do some correction. Let's check here. We are done with the selection. We have to right click and select inverse. Then we right click again and feather with 2. Then hit OK. Then we unlock the layer. Push our delete 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We use our Ctrl D to deselect. Now we are going to be bringing in the picture of the car. So this is the car we are going to be using. Going to take it to Photoshop and drop it in Photoshop. So this is the car. We have some amendment to make on this car because, you know, I downloaded this car. I don't really know how big or how large the image is. We have to see the image size if we'll be able to work with the image size. Go to image size, and here we have 5000 and 4000 plus. I think 400 at resolution. Okay, it's like I've added some pixel to it before. Okay, let's hit OK. I think it's good to go. We have to unlock the background layer so as we'll be able to adjust the car in the frame. We have to use the same frame, so we have to drag it down like this a bit. Then we can fill the top, the side and the bottom. Then we'll pick our rectangular marquee tool and drag around the top side of the car. Then we'll take our move tool, then hold our shift and drag it up. Then hit OK. Then we'll use our Ctrl D to deselect. Then we'll take our rectangular marquee tool again and drag around. Make sure it will not touch the car. Then stop somewhere here and pick your move tool and drag from this middle. Hold your shift down and drag to the end. Then hit OK. Then we'll do the same thing to the bottom too. We'll have to use our Ctrl D to deselect. Then we'll pick our rectangular marquee tool again and do the same to the bottom. Don't allow it to touch the shadow. Then you go to your move tool and drag. I think it's okay like this, but it seems like we still need more space for the image here, so we have to pull it to the side again and do the same thing. We have to pick our rectangular marquee tool and drag around to expand this area more. Take our move tool, then drag it to the end, then hit OK. Use our Ctrl D to deselect. Then we'll have enough space for the image to land. Then let's go to the image. This is the image. We are going to drag this image with our move tool and drop. There's something we need to consider here. We have to consider average human height when you are trying to composite. Then we have to drag this thing down. Like coming in front like this seems like it's not acceptable. Like if this guy should be standing by the door or close to the door of the car, the image has to be a kind of, it has to be somewhere around here. It has to be somewhere around here. Let's just leave it here. I think we can always move it, but if you start creating shadow, there will be no need for movement. Okay, let's assume that based on the height of this guy, he will be able to place his elbow on the side. Okay, let's continue. I think the height is okay like this. Let's reduce a bit. Okay, then hit okay. Then the next thing we are going to be doing is, like, if you take a look at this now, you notice that the image is floating. So how do we get this image to attach to this car? We are going to be starting by this area. Let's place it very well, like on the mirror like this, and let's say this way, and it's okay at the bottom. It's like we are still having some fringes around the edges. We have to remove these fringes around the image. Then we right click and select inverse. Then we right click again and feather with 2. Then hit OK. We are going to delete again. Let's say 1 and 2. Let's see if the fringes are going to be there again. Let's see. I think is a kind of okay now. We are going to be creating shadows, which is going to make this image fit to this background. Now, taking a look at the shadow area of this car, we have to darken the image to match that of the shadow area of the car. We'll click on our adjustment layer icon and choose brightness and contrast. So we are going to link it to the image alone, so that our adjustment is going to base on the image alone, not the car. So we have to click on this link to link it to the image. So we are going to be reducing the brightness down. Don't forget, we are working on the dark area of the car, the dark area, which means the light did not fall to that area. So we are going to be considering the area dark. So that is why we are going to reduce to a point like this. To a point like this. I think it's okay by -114. Then we can hit OK. We can add contrast to sharpen it a bit. Let's say 29 for the contrast. Click on the layer mask and use our Ctrl-I to invert it. Then we are going to be using high opacity and flow. But if you are trying to do something, you have to reduce the opacity to come gradually, because there's no time. You have to be fast in this. That is why I'm trying to make it faster. So we are going to be using 60% for opacity and 60% for flow for the brush. And we are going to be using soft round brush. Make sure your hardness is at 0. Then we can start painting. Let's go in there, and don't forget that it's going to be for the image alone. Let's reduce the size of the brush. Then we can start by adding it like this. As you can see, it's not coming that gradual. It's not coming that gradual. When you are doing yours, you have to take your time and do it. The light that is coming from the left can hit this part of the clothing. So we have to avoid this spot and continue from here like this. And we have to go down this. Then reduce our brush and continue. Have to just black all this area. Turn them to the shadow area. If there's any area you have to erase, you just have to use your X to toggle between the foreground and the background, which is the foreground should be black and background white. If you want to erase, the foreground has to be black and the background white. So you have to reduce your brush, and I think I should clean up this area because it's only from here that is supposed to be having that shadow. I have to clean it like this. So I think it's okay this way. Then as you can see, it's coming up gradually. There are some areas you still need to consider, like these areas are supposed to be on the shadow side. If you take a look at this area of the car, you notice that the left side of the car is bright and the right side is dark. So for the image also, we have to darken this area of the image. So we have to increase our brush size, and don't forget we have to change the foreground and the background again by using X to toggle between them to make the top white again. Then we have to continue painting. Okay, let me just reduce the opacity because it's like it's just too much. Let's continue clicking. So for the shadow, as you can see, the face is not supposed to be left behind. We still have to create the shadow on the face. So we have to manually apply it. Like for the edges, should be dark, very dark. You have to make it click more for the edges. So you apply little on the face. So like this area has to need the shadows, and I think we still have to go under the neck a bit. Then let's believe that the light is coming from the left, like as it is, as you can see. Then we have to continue clicking on this area to make it very, very dark. So this hand is not going to be left behind. Can capture this area like this. This should be the shadow area also. Okay, we have to reduce a little here, not too much. Okay, then look at what we've got. As long as this guy is standing close to the car, this area of the car is not supposed to be bright, so we still need to apply something here. We are going to give the car its own adjustment. We are going to select the car, go to the adjustment layer, click on the adjustment layer, and go to brightness and contrast, and you can see reduce the brightness and add contrast. Then use our Ctrl I to invert it. Then you can still go in there, make sure the is selected, then you can drag around to paint the car. So that area is done. Then if you still take a look at the image, mostly on where it's landing, you can notice that it's like it's still floating. Let's go in there and create a shadow. It can be on top, directly on top of the car. Then let's select the car and choose an empty layer. This time we are going to be using just brush. Click on this plus icon to create an empty layer. Then we have to go to our brush tool and make sure, select our brush tool, then make sure the foreground is black. Then we can use this black, then hit OK. Okay, let's say shadows are not always black. Let's go and choose a color for this shadow. So we are going to pick the darkest area of the shadow on the floor. We are going to click on this foreground to change the color. With our eyedropper tool, we'll go in here, we'll select the darkest shadow on the floor. Then this should be it. I think it's close to black. Then let's hit OK. Then we'll go to the shoe and reduce the brush, and we are going to be making sure that it's going to be landing under this image. So that is why the empty layer is under the image. So we have to start painting. So we have to paint under the shoes like this. Then we can see increase the opacity and flow to fasten the move. Let's do it again. So like this area is lifted, we can just bring it this way like this. I think it should be okay. Then reduce the size again and go under here and do the same. Then increase the size and take it like this. Then increase the size more and take it forward as it's lifted up here. So we are not going to be that precise because that area is dark. So the next thing we do is we are still supposed to create something else. Let's use another layer for this. So we are going to create another shadow which is going to show that this man is standing right there. With the background image selected, click on this plus icon to add an empty layer again. Increase your brush size. By then you can just roughly paint in something here like this. Then you can reduce the opacity. Can reduce the opacity like so. I think it's okay like this. You have to bring a shadow down from the man, so we have to click on this and use our Ctrl J to duplicate it. We'll take the bottom one and pick our move tool. We have to rotate. Then hold our control to drag this area to warp the image. Drag it this way to warp the image. Then we can shrink it like this. Let's just place it somewhere on the floor like this. Let's place it like this because if you check the car shadow, it's just coming to one direction. So let's just go to the same direction. Then hit OK. Hit OK. Then you can go in there and remove any unwanted stuff. Like let's take it up to match the image a bit. Let's take this and remove this downside. Then you can feather with anything. Just like 2 may be okay. Let's just say okay. Then use our Ctrl D to deselect. Then go to our image, adjustments, then levels. Drag the bright slider down to the ending to create just black stuff. Then hit OK. Then go to filter, blur and Gaussian blur. Then you have to take your blur down. You cannot tell the shape of the car through its shadow. You don't need to be able to see the shape of the man through shadow. So we have to blur it so much that you will not notice that it's the shadow of the man. Okay, then hit OK. Let's reduce it a bit. Let's put in 50 and hit OK. So 50 is okay. Let's reduce and see how it's looking. I think it's looking. So we have to reduce the opacity. We have to create some highlight for the image. Let's go in there. If you check around the image, we'll notice we have some highlights around the image. So we have to enhance these highlights to match that of the car. We have to select the image, click on the adjustment layer and choose curves. Then we can pull this up to create more brightness on the image. Then we have to leave it that way. We can remove this. So double click on this adjustment layer to bring out the layer style boss. Then we are going to be dragging the underlying layer forward to selectively bring out those highlights on those areas. So as you can see now, we'll notice that the highlight on that area is popped out. We can hold our Alt down to split this angle apart and drag it forward to create a nice transition. I believe it's okay like this. Hit OK. Go to the adjustment layer, select the layer marks, use your Ctrl I to invert. Then you take our brush tool, make sure you are on soft round brush, then reduce the brush size, and you can also reduce opacity and flow to your liking. Then you can paint in the brightness. You can paint in the highlights. So let's increase it a bit. It's like it's coming too slow. So we have the highlights here. We have here. Then here. Also we can create on these parts to see these areas pop. So like this area we have some little. So as you can see, it's like we are done. Just take a look at it. I believe it's a very good way you can add any image to a picture of a car in Adobe Photoshop. I believe that is it for today. If you find it interesting, helpful and useful, let us know in the comment section telling us the area it has helped, the area it has not, and the area we need to improve on. Like I said earlier, if you are new on this channel, please do me a favor. Do me a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Not just hitting that subscribe button, also ring the notification bell so that you don't miss any of the next video. And if there's anything you like about the video, don't forget to touch that like button. Thanks for watching today's video. Creative Pro, keep on creating. Please stay creative. Keep creating. See you in the next video. Bye for now.